Hello again, all you absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, the channel where we get to talk about nature while playing games. And we are back in Empires of the Undergrowth, as you can see, and we have a bit of an army that has formed up. Now, just to have a look here underneath, as you can see here, I have been a busy ant, since I had to build this up again after the last Formicarium challenge. So you can see here, here's our entrance, here's our queen, we've got our food stores there, and we've got two nice chambers here with the leafcutter ant mages. We so far have two chambers of the wood ants as well, the Formica rufa. We've got a little bit of our workers over here. We probably have to build another one of these. And then we have three chambers here that are ready to receive the fire ants, because our leafcutters here are going to be our big tanks here, and our wood ants here, as well as our fire ants, they're going to be the DPS. They're going to be the nice damage dealing individuals. So let's buy the fire ants, shall we? Now, I've learned my lesson. We are definitely going for pervasive. Vigorous. That's the one we're going for. Definitely going for vigorous here. And then we're going to go for last stand. And I feel like sure-footed is also a nice one to have. If you're going up against large enemies, which we most definitely will be, sure-footed feels like a nice one to go for. So let's go for that one. And of course, we spend some jelly to get to level 3. Now, of course, you can also use jelly to actually improve all these different types of ants, and we will be doing that after we have done some of the challenges. So the idea now, we are going to do the bridge too far. And then before we go on to the final experiment, we are going to do the challenge missions for these ones. That's going to give us a nice bunch of jelly. It's going to give us a nice bunch of everything. And we can then expand our Formicarium. But without any further ado, let's jump right into a bridge too far. And of course, if you have any questions, do feel free to pop it down in the comments below. Of course, as always, we're playing it on medium difficulty. And let's jump in with the vigorous fire ants. Alright, so here we go.
This fire ant queen has travelled for miles on her nuptial flight, finally landing atop a sandy mound deep in the swamp. The vantage point might seem like an ideal home, but it may be short-lived. This whole area is liable to flooding, and nearby rainfall is already causing the groundwater to rise. Exhausted and without her wings, the queen is unable to move on alone. But if she can amass enough daughters in time, the colony as a whole may stand a chance.
Alrighty, so this is us now. So that nuptial flight that the narrator was talking about is when the queen has mated, the new queen has mated with a male, and she's now starting her colony. Oh no!
Must be protected.
I did not even see these guys here. Okay, this may actually be alright. This may not be too bad. I think we should be able to handle this. Yes, okay. Oh my word, I thought I was going to have to start over because there is a checkered beetle larva, but thankfully we survived that. Okay, we need soldiers. That's what we need. We need a lot of soldiers.
Many nearby creatures have already been washed out of their homes by the rising water. A lucky few have been deposited on the shores east of the nest. As more arrive, tensions will rise. There isn't space here for everyone.
So yeah, not all colonies can be successful. We have to really rush in order to actually get our colony to survive. We've got to have enough population in order to make a raft, because as the floodwaters come, that is going to be our only escape. Our salvation lies in the fact that we've got to make a nice raft and actually float away with the rising waters. So let's just get some soldiers going here. Get some more food, and then we can, I think, dig out our first enemy, which is right over there. I suspect that is a False Bombardier Beetle. And indeed, it is a False Bombardier Beetle. So here we have our first False Bombardier Beetle larva, and if we just zoom in on it, you can see there they have got quite ferocious jaws. So both the larvae and the adults of this group of beetles will be ferocious predators, feeding on ants and all kinds of other insects. Now the larva here, not really very similar to a Bombardier Beetle's larva, which is slightly more elongated and actually very different colors. But the adults will resemble the adult Bombardier Beetles, and we'll talk about that when we see the adults of this species in a moment, because I'm sure we are going to see them above ground. So the larvae here usually living under logs, under bark, in these types of places, nice moist places, but also places where you can find their prey. You can find the insects in this case. Okay, but we're going to have a look at them in a moment.
False Bombardier larvae are burrowing through the earth surrounding the nest. They are already large and will hold their ground against small groups of ants.
Alright, that at least gives us a bit of food. We are going to just dig out this section over here, get a nice space going for food storage. And then we're just going to dig out to this section over here. And now, where are we going to? I think what we're going to do now is have a nice chamber with some soldiers over here. And as per your suggestions in the previous videos, I'm going to split them into smaller groups. Ah, the creatures are going to be attacking. Right, let's actually head outside, shall we? Let's meet them out there. Alright, oh, look at that. A beautiful, beautiful dragonfly.
The boggy earth at the base of the mound is now saturated, and as night approaches, the water begins to creep closer. The new arrivals will rush to higher ground, heading straight for the nest. There is nowhere else to go.
I should have gone for the lower lying things. Unfortunately, I did not.
Blue skimmer, Libellula vibrans, hunts overhead. This fantastic aerial predator shouldn't cause any trouble for the ants. That is, unless it decides to land in their way.
Alright, little spiders here, little jumping spider, really no match for us.
But as the floodwater begins to rise, the ants will quickly lose access to the lower lands.
Okay, unfortunately we are going to lose out on that bunch of aphids over there. Although we can, I think, get it again later on. And there we go. I think this means we can get it now if we really, really wanted to. Okay, but we've got a false bombardier beetle and a whole bunch of other little guys, oh, there we go, that one's dead. Little checkered beetles. Their larvae also coming to attack. They're all fleeing from the lower lying areas which are being flooded at the moment. Luckily, we've got our vigorous fire ants and they're doing a marvelous, marvelous job. Okay, we do have another mantid fly over here, or mantis fly, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Let's see when it plops down. It will have quite good vision. Ah, really such an awesome creature. I love the fact that they have this in the game. Oh well, I guess we can harvest the pine cone here. Grab some seeds before heading on.
The inundation has slowed, and fewer creatures are washing up to the east. The ants have an opportunity to explore for food, but there are other dangers at night. Moist-skinned amphibians have come out to take advantage of this new water world, harvesting lost insects displaced from their burrows.
Okay, in this case, let's now start heading over to this spot right over here. I want to come and collect these aphids so we have got a nice supply of food while we are doing this mission. Going to try and collect all the aphids as quickly as we can. However, we do have some frogs popping up. So let's just get our numbers. There's a nice frog over here calling. Oh, wow. I love these little guys. It used to be called Hyla femoralis. It is now called Dryophytes femoralis because, taxonomists need jobs too, and they constantly changing the scientific names. But notice that call there, very, very distinctive. It is also known as the Morse code frog because of that very interesting call that it has. Those staccato sounds that it has there. Of course, this is a male then trying to attract a female, and we are now just going to rudely interrupt his
frog,
call.
Femoralis, has wandered into the trail. This one has taken a break from mate calling for a quick meal, and it seems that ants are on the menu.
That quick meal ended up eating him, but anyway. Right, so we're just going to see if we can cross this bridge here. Something tells me we do not have enough individuals, unfortunately. But here we come. There comes another bunch. Okay. Cool beans. Although I still don't think we're going to have enough to actually get to the other side. Maybe we should just call in a few more workers. But with the Hyla femoralis, or now called Dryophytes femoralis here, they are really, really cool frogs. The tadpoles are actually very, very distinctive if there are predators in the area. If there are predators underwater, like dragonfly larvae in particular, they will develop bright red tails with a black outline. However, that uses a lot of energy to do. So they will only do that if there is enough food. And the idea is that they are trying to attract attention to the tail of the tadpole rather than the actual tadpole itself, because tails of tadpoles can actually regenerate. If they are damaged, they can regenerate, which is amazing. It's a really, really amazing adaptation. But if there are no predators in the area, like a little ditch, for example, that there are no dragonfly larvae in, then those tadpoles do not actually have those brightly colored tails, because they would rather use that energy to grow quickly and metamorphose into proper frogs. Really, really very, very cool. Okay, and I think here comes our one soldier here for the last of the aphids. Of course, we are collecting the aphids here, bringing them to the milkweed closest to our nest so that we can get honeydew from them. Oh, the water is going to rise as well. Come on, guys, let's just go back then. We have obtained all our aphids. That is perfect. I would have loved to go for those seeds. However, we unfortunately did not have enough.
An ant has found itself entangled on the sticky tentacle of a dwarf Sundew. As it tries to struggle free, more tentacles are drawn in, drowning the victim in thick mucilage.
Alright, so the water is going to rise, and that most likely means that we're going to have a whole bunch of things appearing. And again, I should have gone for the food down here, but I was so focused on getting those aphids. Unfortunately, this now means we will lose out on this bunch over here. Unfortunately.
Continued rainfall is about to bring another torrent flushing through the bog, carrying with it a slew of ill-tempered arthropods.
You can see here come some maggots. Let's actually go down to get them. And also grab the little caterpillars here, because these little caterpillars here, there we go, these little guys, these caterpillars belong to these swallowtail butterflies, and you can kind of see they resemble bird droppings, but they'll only resemble bird droppings up to a certain size. When they're quite small, they look like bird droppings. As they get larger, no smallish bird will have a dropping that is an inch in diameter. So as they get larger, they actually turn a more green or brown color, depending on which plants they are, and depending on the species of swallowtail butterfly that you are looking at here. Now you can see these little guys, they are in the transitional phase. They've got eye spots over there. They're trying to look like a larger creature. This little caterpillar is trying to look larger. It's trying to look like a little snake that has most of his body hidden behind, you know, the leaf over here, with just its head sticking out. And it kind of resembles it. But there are some species that are far better at mimicking snakes. You know, as good as a caterpillar can get at mimicking a snake. But these little guys, they are still looking like big bird droppings. They're just changing into the other shape now. But nonetheless, we are not fooled, because we are ants, we can smell them. Hey guys, this is Future World popping in again. So regarding these little guys, these little swallowtail butterfly caterpillars, they also have a special organ in the front, known as the osmeterium, which they can actually evert. They can push it out of their body, and that is a very interesting organ, because what it does is it secretes a foul-smelling compound. In some cases, it will mimic bird droppings, and in other cases, it's used to repel or kill ants and other smaller predatory insects. So they are not completely defenseless, even when they are just sitting out in the open like this. Normally, they could actually do that. Now, perhaps this species does not have the noxious chemicals to actually repel the ants or to get rid of the ants, but it would very often be able to mimic bird droppings. Unfortunately, the ones on the plants here, yeah, we as the fire ants know that we can come and eat these guys over here. They're relatively defenseless against us, but do keep in mind, not all caterpillars like these guys are actually defenseless. We're just going to quickly collect all the... Oh, yeah, you ran straight into that Sundew leaf over there. Okay, I think you guys are done. You collect everything there. You guys also, you've got a bit more to collect. Perhaps, there we go, you can actually come down here. And a lot of ants are now going to walk into our pitcher plant over here. Oh, look, there is a false bombardier beetle.
Has fallen victim to a carnivorous plant.
Hello there, false bombardier. Oh, there we go, spraying stuff there. Although, being a false bombardier beetle, it does not spray the highly noxious chemicals that you observe in normal bombardier beetles. But the false bombardier beetle here, it'll be spraying formic acid. Now, this looks like a bombardier beetle. Okay, it's got the same coloration, more or less, as a bombardier beetle, but it is not defenseless. It also will be spraying, in this case, formic acid. So this is a poisonous or toxic species looking like another poisonous or toxic species. This is what we call Müllerian mimicry. So it is trying to look like another toxic species. And the idea then is, with Müllerian mimicry, you want your predators to learn more quickly to associate this color palette with something that is poisonous or unpalatable. You don't want to sacrifice 50 individuals of your population in order to let predators know that you should avoid this color. You only want to sacrifice 25. So the cost of individuals dying due to predators learning to associate this color with something unpalatable is reduced. You don't lose as many individuals for the predators to learn that, okay, don't eat this, don't attack this. That is Müllerian mimicry, when two poisonous or unpalatable species look like each other. Now, we're not very good at learning to avoid color patterns, so we're just going to attack it nonetheless. It should be almost dead, and I think, yeah, there we go, it is now dead. What we are going to do is we're going to use group 2 then. Group 1 is going to come and collect these things, and most likely a lot of them are going to... That's a trap. That is definitely a trap. Okay, let's not go here because a lot of our ants are running into the pitcher plant over here and dying in the process. Now, I talked about pitcher plants previously. They have got the sugary secretion that, yes, sometimes the ants can actually get it, and in the game there is a very, very low chance, but there is a chance that your ants can actually grab the nectar that is there. There's a very, very low chance. There we go. There is the mantis fly that has finally popped up. We're going to use these little guys to protect the workers. Okay, now we do have another false bombardier beetle right over there. So we're just going to hopefully... You see, it's not as violent explosion, basically, as the normal bombardier beetle or the real bombardier beetle. And it is no match for our little fire ants over here. They are vigorous after all. Now, a lot of them, there we go.
Has fallen victim to a
Perfect.
carnivorous plant.
A lot of them have gone into the Drosera over there, our Sundew plant. Now, they are amazing little carnivorous plants. I absolutely love them. I actually have one at home as well. All right, here come a tiger beetle. Let's just keep the fight out here. There we go. I think we have mounted a sufficient defense. And voila, it is dead. Now, with the Sundew plants over here, if we just look at one that is actually open. There we go, like this. Right in the center there, you can see some new leaves forming. As they form, they actually get larger and they unfurl like this. Now, they're called Sundew plants because, well, on their leaves, they have these weird little knobs over there. And that will secrete a sticky mucilage, a sticky substance. And ants and any other insect that bumps up against that will get stuck. As they are moving, that results in a chemical reaction resulting in electric charges being moved, and that results in water being pumped into certain cells and the leaf curls around. It's a very, very scientific explanation of magic happening in the plant here, and the plant actually moving. So it then will roll around and traps any insect that is actually stuck there. Then they will secrete digestive enzymes that will break down the insect, and then they've got special little glands on the leaves that will absorb the insect soup. Now, what they have found, especially in South Africa, is that on a lot of these Drosera, on a lot of these Sundews, there are actually little insects living on the leaves here. They know how to not get stuck on the sticky mucilage that the Sundew creates. So they live on the plant here. And whenever the plant actually catches something like an ant, these little insects living on the leaves will then eat that prey item of the plant. And that sounds like parasitism. I mean, that sounds like you're taking the food that this Sundew has actually caught and you're eating it now, you're stealing it. But those insects that eat the insects caught by the Sundew will have their droppings put on the leaves of the Sundew here. And those insect droppings are easier to digest for the Sundew over here than whole insect bodies. So it actually makes nutrients available faster for the Sundew, having those other little insects living on here to eat the insects that the Sundew has caught. So that is mutualism. Both parties actually benefit in that association. Of course, Sundews here and the pitcher plants that we have, they're all catching the insects to get to the phosphorus and the nitrogen that are in the bodies of those insects because, well, they live in soils that will have very little nitrogen and very little phosphorus available. Okay, let's actually just run higher up. Thank you, guys. Can we? Yeah, we can start coming to the other nest. Ah, brilliant. Shall we raid them? That is the ultimate question, though. I really think we should. So let's talk about this beautiful creature, the dragonfly, absolutely one of my favorite creatures around. You'll see that the wings of the dragonfly generally clear except for the veins, but you also have these darker patches all along there and there. These are what we call the pterostigmata. And the pterostigmata, or singular is pterostigma, but the pterostigmata there are to actually increase the speed at which a dragonfly can glide. Now, gliding, of course, uses less energy than actively flapping your wings. And if you are a dragonfly and you are gliding too fast, if you didn't have these pterostigmata here, that would result in flutter. It would result in instability in the wings, and you wouldn't be able to glide effectively. But with these pterostigmata there is a purpose for them. It's darker, but it's also heavier, these cells. These cells are stockier, the cells that form these pterostigmata, and it results in stability when gliding at higher speeds, which is just absolutely amazing. Now, of course, this is an adult. The larvae are living in the water here somewhere, also ferocious predators. Now, dragonflies also have exceptional eyesight. I mean, with these large eyes, you can see here it kind of bulges all around the head. They've got basically 360-degree vision, which is amazing. And they also kind of see like in slow motion. So they process images much faster than we as humans can. And they need that in order to catch their prey, because they will be catching things that are flying around and they catch it in flight. They will give it a nice big bite on the head with their very, very strong jaws, the mandibles, and then they carry it with their little legs over here to a perch to eat. Really, really awesome creatures. Alright, now, it is mostly feeding on things on the wing. If, however, we attack it, it will attack us and will defend itself. I have been bitten by dragonflies twice in my life. Both times I was trying to release them from inside a room where they were trapped, and they did not seem to appreciate that. Alright, now we really need to come over to these little guys over here. Right, but I think that is where we are going to call it today, everybody. I am running out of time here, so I will see you guys again on Friday when we're going to finish this great big mission over here. And until next time, everybody, stay safe. I'll see you all soon. Bye.